This is Roger Strugov of Cloud Expo TV at Cloud Expo, the 23rd International Cloud Expo in Santa Clara, California. I am joined right now by Greg BLEDSOE with MThree Consulting and the Durable DevOps podcast. He interviewed me today. It was fascinating stuff. We talked about a lot of good things. And one thing I don't think we talked about was what we're going to talk about now, which is like upskilling in all levels of the organization, not just at the beginning, not just, throughout the organization to achieve these cultural changes, I think, that we need to achieve. Am I correct? And thanks for joining us, by the way.
Yes, you're very correct, and thank you very much. I'm having a blast. This is it's been a great conference so far. I'm learning a lot. I'm being upskilled. It's a continuous learning, right? In all of our continuous buzzwords, we went from continuous integration to continuous deployment to continuous, continuous delivery,
right.
And now but what we really need to add in here is continuous learning. We need to become continuous learning organizations. We need to learn how to figure out if we're accomplishing our mission. We need to learn how to continue to adapt to the changing technology and times, right? We're right at that inflection point where everybody now understands they have to stop being the organization they used to be, and become a new organization capable of delivering into the market with the speed the market changes now. And so that's where the upskilling at all levels of the organization comes in. We've all got a lot to learn.
I think there's feedback involved too. See, it's not just an endpoint. Okay, took the course, got it, got the T-shirt or the diploma or whatever. No, it seems to me like constant feedback loop, especially throughout an organization when you're trying to up the entire organization.
That's right. Well, feedback loops are a formal part of all of these methodologies: Lean, Agile, DevOps, which are really what we're talking about here. We're talking about Agile, Lean, and DevOps together in a big package, right? It's what I call ALDO. It's a new acronym, right? It's like DevOps 2.0 maybe. But really what it is taking all of these new ideas and these new frameworks and figuring out how do we use them to deliver on our organization's mission. And so there's a lot of deep thinking that goes underneath that. What is the value we expect to provide? How do we measure if we're providing that value? What is the value we're expecting to get out of this new change we're making, and how will we know if we're getting it? And those are questions that I think we too infrequently stop to ask before we get started, and they're the fundamental. That's why we're in the trough of disillusionment within a lot of organizations right now, because they didn't start from the right place.
Well, yeah, you mentioned to fit in with the organization's mission, and that mission really. It's not the old days where we're just going to continue to make tires or bleach for the next 100 years. So the mission may actually evolve or change or pivot, depending on how many new skills you can add, how quickly there may be insights involved.
That's right. Business insight, right, into what people are actually doing with our app. Like there's a mismatch, say, between the user interface and the user experience. We think people are using our application one way. We think people are using our technology or our product or our service one way, but they're actually using it a completely different way, which actually maybe is more valuable and gives us a hint of what we really ought to be doing. But are we systematically measuring what is the user experience? And if we do that, how do we feed that back as insights into what we're doing? These are all the questions we're asking. It's more feedback loops, right?
The tendency, so that you can have this reflexive tendency to say, well, they're just using it wrong.
Yes, and whoever says that is actually the one that is wrong, because you produced an application that does not lend itself to be used in the way you intended. And that's okay, because most of what we do will not work out the way we intend. And that's it's one of the brilliant things about Agile, is that we stop pretending we know the future, we stop pretending we know how things are going to work out in the end, and we start paying attention to measurements that tell us if we're doing the right thing, so that we can stop doing things that don't provide value and do more things that do provide value. And really the true measure of agility is how quickly do you know you did the wrong thing. Everything else is ceremony.
I hadn't thought about it like that.
That's a quote. I got that off Twitter. I forget. Who I got
Yeah,
it.
no, because that's the idea. Because the whole idea of agile, our people are saying, well, we can move very quickly and do what we want to do and do very quickly, but that point of view doesn't account for what if I was wrong or unforeseen circumstances or that sort of thing, and you just don't throw your hands up in the air when something goes wrong.
Which is actually the entire point of Agile. The entire point of Agile is to form a product feedback loop where you very quickly know if you accomplished what you intended or not. So if you don't approach Agile from that perspective, you can never really get the value out of Agile.
The other day he spoke, give me a little bit of what you're talking about the other day, because a lot of your research and your insights and the services you provide is based on this pesky human behavior and assumptions that we make and that sort of thing. Talk a little bit about how the humans actually affect what the humans do.
Well, I was a very good engineer, and so as we are prone to do, we promote very good engineers to become managers, many of whom are terrible at managing people, as I was at first. And all the people that answered that I managed quit, and I started to get clued in that there really is no technical system. It's a human system. And in the human system, we layer ourselves into the technology. And so you can't actually change the technical system without reorganizing the human system. And when you start to understand that, and this is the real crux, I think, of Deming's insights, is that the delivery process is about the human system and about whether people feel connected and empowered to point out when there's problems. I mean, how many executives have been surprised to find out everybody else thinks they're failing and the executive has thought they were succeeding, right? How many times have we been surprised and shocked by that? See, that's an artifact of the human system that is avoidable.
There's a lot of organizational stuff going on here, a lot of deep stuff, and it really does. You had the skills, but having the skills does no good. The technical skills, if you don't have the human skills and the organizational understanding, there's a lot more you can learn. So, thanks for joining us. And I gotta let you tell people where to find you. Where are you?
So I'm at I'm Geek King on Twitter, Geek_King on Twitter. You can find me on LinkedIn, Gregory S. Bledsoe, and MThreeConsulting.com, Greg.Bledsoe at MThreeConsulting.com. Feel free to give me a shout, reach out and connect. I love to have these conversations where I can learn what's actually going on out there.
And that's true. So, again, thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. For Cloud Expo TV, this is Roger Struckoff.